the way that Ferreira, she just steals the space constantly with that front foot pressure. And eventually, it didn't even take that long, really. It wore her down, and she was great.
Hi and welcome to the Real Women of Boxing, episode 10. My name is Jacqui-Lee Pryce, and today's guest is a two-time national champion, former GB boxer, and recently she turned over to the pros, Hannah Robinson. How you doing, Hannah? You all right?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. It's a pleasure to be on the show. I love listening to it. Yeah, I'm pleased to be on.
Nice one. I'm really happy to have you on because, like I said, the viewers that don't know you, they will learn you're a really top amateur, going to be doing exciting things in the pro scene. But we'll get to your story a little bit later. Yeah. Let's talk about some of the recent boxing news and obviously the fights from the weekend. With only one fight on the boxer deal, Ben Whittaker is on the move, or apparently he's on the move. Everyone's anticipating that he might move to either Matchroom or I think what's the other one called, Queensberry Promotions, because there's the opening there obviously for the whole Riyadh season. What's your thoughts on his career so far and possibility of moving?
He divides opinion, doesn't he? He's a bit like Marmite, and I think it brings excitement to boxing and something interesting. And yeah, I met Ben a few times while I was on the GB squad. He was on the podium. I think I was on development at the time, so didn't spend too much time with him. But he's a character, and I think boxing needs those people. It's exciting, and love him or hate him, he gets people talking about him. He brings attention to the sport, and he's got the skills to back it up. He's not all talk. Yeah, he's a Olympic silver medalist. He's no joke. Whoever he decides to go with, I think the ball's in his court, really, because he does attract viewers.
I actually was hoping that I'd get the inside scoop that because you were on GB, I thought you might know a little bit more. But having said that, yeah, you're absolutely right. He is in a position now, I reckon, where he's almost in a more powerful position than most because after his last few fights, social media has just gone mental. Like you just said, love him or hate him, people are going to tune in, aren't they, to watch him?
They are, yeah. And yeah, I think the ball's in his court completely. With social media, that's a big selling point. And yeah, he attracts the numbers, and that's what it's all about, really, to the big promoters.
Yeah, rightly or wrongly, the game is completely changed, hasn't it? Yeah, that plays a massive part. I saw Frank Smith, he was put a little bit under pressure in a few interviews. Everyone's trying to find out. I don't know whether it's... Yeah, I don't know if it's a case of that he just doesn't know because it hasn't been finalised, or he's just playing his cards close to his chest.
Yeah, you don't know what's going on in the background. There might be contracts waiting to be signed and things going on in the background. So yeah, I'm looking forward to finding out.
Yeah, me too. Please don't forget to like, share and follow. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you know when we drop new content. Saturday night, we saw the fight between your stablemate, Mark Leach, against Peter McGrail. Unfortunately, for Leach, he took a loss. Obviously, McGrail got a good win after a loss. Bittersweet for you, knowing that you're part of the same camp as Mark Leach?
Yeah, obviously I was supporting Mark Leach on Saturday night, but I know how good Peter McGrail was as an amateur, and it's no shame in losing to Peter McGrail. I think he put up a good performance. He could have done a little bit more, I think. He was tired towards the end, but I think that was down to Peter McGrail's constant pressure as well. He was just on Mark all the time, and I've watched Mark spar in the gym, and I'm always in awe of how elusive and good he is on the back foot. But when you got someone in front of you constantly, it's so tiring, and that's what Pete McGrail does really well. Yeah, he did himself proud. A bit disappointed, but also over the moon for Peter McGrail because I think he'll do big things.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's a bittersweet. I like Leach. I've only met him, I think, twice. Nice guy, family man. One of those guys you think, I just want him to get a little bit more of a break. But also equally McGrail, quality boxer. I have to agree with you. I think, didn't Leach have only a couple of weeks...
He did, yeah. He was preparing for another fight, a smaller fight, and then this came up, so he didn't have much time to prepare for it. Yeah. But as soon as he found out there was this opportunity. He grabbed it with both hands, and he has been training really hard in the gym as soon as he found out. But yeah, he didn't have a full camp for it, I don't think. But yeah, he trained really hard as soon as he found out. And he never turns a fight down. He's former British champion. Like, he's done amazing things in the sport.
I absolutely agree. Also, Peter McGrail was keeping him on his toes. He was really, it's mentally tiring, isn't it, when you've got somebody relentlessly at you. And I think if you've had a full camp, and this is not like an excuse for Leach or trying to put down Peter McGrail at all. Mental sharpness is there if you've had a full camp. And Peter McGrail was just twisting and turning in one ear, and Leach is like, oh my God, come on.
That's it. And I think Peter also, like, coming off the back of that loss, he had a point to prove as well that he was back into it and headlining in his home city. Yeah, the odds were against Mark, but Peter performed really well.
I do think that Leachy did a really good job. I thought that, he could have just pressed a little bit towards the sort of middle to end. But hey, do you know what? At the end of the day, he came off a loss. He took the fight late, and I think he gave a really good account of himself, to be fair.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
And congratulations to McGrail, McGrail, I should say, back to winning ways. He looked good. He looked really good.
Yeah, he looked good. I think he got cut in. I think it was the last round or the last couple of rounds. Yeah, I bet he was a bit frustrated with that because he didn't get caught with much. But yeah, he's got a little bit of a cut, so that'll have to have a chance to heal now before he can go again. He's back to winning ways now, so I think now if he gets a bit of momentum behind him and push on to bigger fights.
I am glad, I have to say, that people haven't deserted him, because bloody hell, people love to desert people when they have a loss.
I know, yeah. It seems, and then it makes people scared of taking the big risky fights when really those are the fights that people want to see. I think a loss shouldn't define your career. Yeah. And I think now it is getting easier for people to come back after losses. But I think it's from the Floyd Mayweather days where he was retired undefeated and people want to pad out the record. But now I think, especially with Matchroom, they're matching quite well, quite evenly. And I think that's what people want. That's how they attract audiences. And it is a risk to take a loss, but they make the best fights, the close fights.
It's one of them, isn't it? It's like you want to entertain the crowd, you want to get bums on seats, you want to get your name out there, but then taking that.
And in the UFC and other combat sports, it doesn't mean anything like a loss on your record, like it does in boxing. So it's good to see people coming back after losses and learning from it, and that's what it's all about.
100%. Another real quality ex-amateur, Hamza Uddin, had his debut against Santiago San Eusebio. Did you get a chance to watch that?
Yeah, I saw the knockout of that. It was he's so sharp and his timing is unreal. Yeah, he's one to watch for sure. What a debut as well.
Absolutely. Listen, it's one of those things, isn't it, that, and I get it, everyone wants to impress in the debut. There's a lot of pressure. But to be fair, he did impress. He seemed to be really enjoying himself.
Yeah, he did. He sucked it all up, and and you couldn't ask for a better debut, really. But it didn't look forced, and he was relaxed. And that's when you develop that knockout punch, because he was so relaxed and his timing was there. Yeah, he looked like he'd been there before.
100%. I'll be honest with you, I actually didn't think he was that relaxed in the first half of the fight. He seemed to put power shots into everything, and I'm like, just calm down. Relax and it'll come. And to be fair though, his judgment of distance, the variety of the shots, the power shots, the confidence. I guess the question is Hamza Uddin going to be a huge boxing star? Yeah.
We'll find out, I suppose. But he definitely showed some skill in that first fight of his. So, I'd be interested to watch his journey.
Yeah, most definitely. Also, Saturday night, Maise Rose Courtney performed in a 6 professional fight against Di Stefano.
Yeah.
Another great fight. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, I was really impressed, actually. And I thought she looks a lot more composed and experienced now, Maise Rose. Like, something's clicked, and she looked a lot more at home in the ring there. And she showed she could do a little bit of everything. She boxed on the front foot, she was aggressive, but she also had a little wander and boxed on the back foot. And yeah, it looked like she was in the floor there, and she was enjoying herself.
Yeah,
And
100%.
the catch counters as she was coming forward.
Yes.
Yeah, she was doing really well, and yeah, the amount of like variance in the work I was impressed with. It's like she put everything on display really. So yeah, I do think she's better when she's more in the center of the ring on that front foot, and yeah, doing that bit of catch countering and stuff like that. I think that's where she does her best work. But she showed she could also box round on the back foot, and that Stefano's experienced and she looks strong. Like and she was coming into the fight as well as it went on. But yeah, it was a good 8-round display for Maise, and I was impressed with that.
Yeah, Stefano, I think she'd done a 10-rounder with Lauren Parker, so we know that she is able to do those long stretches.
Yeah.
I don't mean any disrespect, but I just thought that Maise Rose showed a much more superior boxing technique. And again, I don't know what Stefano's background. I don't know if she's had a massive amateur background. She was tough. She was relentless. But I just thought that Maise Rose was...
Yeah, she outskilled her completely, really. And I think, that Stefano was tough and quite experienced. I think she's 39-year-old. So she's
39, yeah, you're right.
So she's been around a while and probably been in a few tough fights. So it's good for Maise Rose to be in with someone like that, and she showed that she's far superior skill-wise and put on a great display.
Yeah, I was totally impressed. I thought hand speed was like, I don't know what. So I had a bit of time off. I had about a year or so off. And then I came back and I was like, okay. Because I know Maise from the amateurs. I saw her turn over and then all of a sudden, like all of these pieces, like her hand speed's great. She's a good judgment of like distance, her timing, everything like. And like you say, that catch and counter.
Yeah, she's good. And the thing I like about Maise Rose as well, like, she looks like she's having a good time in there. She looks like she's enjoying it. And it's nice to see.
Yeah. Sitting in the pocket as well. I tell you what, she was decent there as well.
Yeah, she was. She looks strong. Like I think they were saying before the fight, she's had a good camp, like nutrition-wise as well, made the weight really well. And she looked big and strong in the ring, I thought, as well.
Yeah,
So.
she looked big, she looked strong, she looked confident. I tell you what, honestly, I'm really excited to see where, and I don't say this because I know her, I honestly was pleasantly surprised at all the little pieces of the jigsaw that have been put together yesterday. Yeah. And like you said, when she was really enjoying herself, which then made me enjoy it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and it is. It makes you enjoy watching it. And I think I think the EBU have ordered her and Chloe Watson. So that'll be a really tasty fight, that, because they're both quality girls.
Chloe Watson versus Maise Rose Courtney. Who wins?
I don't want to pick a side, to be honest. I don't really know, because they're both quality girls, and I think the opponents they've been in with have been nothing like either of them together. Do you know what I mean? So it's hard to say what they would do, but I think it'll be fireworks because they both got good work rate and they're both very competitive, and I think it'll be a great fight.
So just to reiterate, the fight has been ordered. Maise Rose Courtney has been ordered to fight Chloe Watson for the EBU title that Chloe Watson holds at the moment. Honestly, I'm going to agree with you. I literally was thinking about this and thinking, trying to put my heart aside, because obviously I know Maise better than I know Chloe, but I can't deny the talent of Chloe. And I was thinking, I think for me, I've got to sit down and watch a few more fights and try and figure out which one does what better. But even then, it's...
Because Chloe's sharp, she's fast, she's got the work rate. I think Maise Rose is a little bit slicker with her head movement, and she's got a little bit more flair. But then if Chloe's putting that work rate in and who's the stronger of the two, I couldn't pick really. So it'll be a very interesting fight. But yeah, one I can't wait to see.
Definitely. There's already a bit of pre-fight hype.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got Courtney basically saying she'll beat the granny out of Chloe. And Chloe Watson, basically, she believes she's levels above Maise. So already the shit talk started. Yeah. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. And I think, especially in the female boxing, there's not that much of that, to be honest. And I think we're quite mellow and just get in there and get on with it a lot of the time. But it's nice to see a little bit of needle in a respectful way. So they're both confident in their own abilities, which makes for a good fight.
And it's a proper fight as well. It's not
proper,
it's a proper 50-50 fight, isn't it? Yeah. I'm excited, actually.
Yeah, I am, actually, yeah. I'll definitely tune in for that one.
What do you feel about them meeting each other so early on? There's obviously the argument of there's a lack of depth, but in the middle of professional boxing, it has gotten better over the last few years versus a guy that would be padded. I think that's the word people use. Experience, allowed to gain more experience. I think that's a diplomatic way of putting it. Versus a woman that is thrown in really early for these title fights. What's your thoughts?
I think it's a good thing because, like you said, there isn't that depth there. There's not much else for either of them to do. And I think Maise Rose showed she's at that level in her last fight. She's gone to an 8-rounder and it's time to progress. And you can progress a lot faster as a female. And it'll be a close fight. And whoever, like we mentioned before, whoever gets a loss doesn't mean it's the end of the road. I think especially with female boxing, there's a lot more. You can move up and down the weights. And there's lots of different routes, and within a couple of fights, you're back in big fights again. So it's not like you don't have to build yourself back up after a loss like the males as well. So if things do happen quicker, and you can bounce back from a loss quicker, I think as well.
Yeah, I think for me, being a boxing person, I want to see the journey, although I also understand that the depth isn't there. And luckily for the females, like you just said, it doesn't seem people are hating on somebody that's willing to take a chance and lose. Yeah. I do want to see a bit more of a build-up. That's just me being greedy. Yeah. However, I think it's a double-edged sword because people like yourself, people like Maise, Caroline Dubois, Sky Nicholson, the list goes on. If you go in and start fighting loads and loads of bums, then... yeah, people are just going to moan, aren't they, really?
That's it. And I think the key to keep people interested and keep building female boxing is to have great fights. And if that means taking risks, the boxers taking risks on getting a defeat, then that's what's needed to build the sport. And they'll be in big fights again because, like you said, the depth isn't there. So there's a lot more opportunities that spring up to the females.
Yeah, I just hope that the wages reflect it.
That's that's another thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Beatriz the Beast Ferreira versus Yanina del Carmen Lescano. They fought for the IBF or the vacant IBF World Lightweight Title. Oh my God! Please, what are your thoughts on that fight?
I think she lives up to the name, the Beast, I think. But I thought Lescano was so tough as well. And I thought as well, the start of the fight, I was thinking, she was catching Ferreira on the way in. And she was having a little bit of success early when she was using her height and her reach and throwing those straight shots as Ferreira came forward. But the way that Ferreira, she just steals the space constantly with that front foot pressure. And eventually, it didn't even take that long, really. It wore her down, and she was great. She dictated the pace the whole way through the fight. And yeah, she has that killer instinct as well. I think was it the 5th round? I think she got Lescano. And I think you saw Ferreira change then, and she put even more pressure on her and up the gears more and was mixing it up, head and body. And yeah, she just couldn't cope with Lescano. And I think if it wasn't stopped for the cut, I think Ferreira, it would have been stopped anyway. It was getting to that point. So, yeah, great performance.
I have to agree. I thought Ferreira was really struggling with that long lead hand of Lescano's in the beginning.
The first couple of rounds, yeah.
She was getting caught a lot, and it was like, hold on, what's going on? Yeah. But there was quite a height difference. But yeah, I think it was about the 3rd or 4th round. Maybe it was the 3rd round. She'd gone back to the corner. I don't know what her corner had said to her. Probably cussed her because she then started moving ahead because she wasn't moving ahead.
Yeah,
either.
Yeah. And that's one of her best. I remember watching her as an amateur, being in tournaments where I've watched the box in tournaments all over the world. I remember the first time I seen a box, it was my first tournament for JB, and it was out in Poland, and I boxed twice, and then I lost in my second fight, and if I'd won that, I would have boxed against Ferreira in the semi-finals. So then I watched her after, and I knew she was a special talent then. And she just has that air of confidence about her as well. And you could tell that walking around the venue of the tournaments with that as well. So, yeah, she's a good talent.
She's not only a good talent, I like the way she's coming across at the minute. She genuinely looked really excited. Like, oh my God, I've won a world title. She was saying, I've done it for Brazil. It was really sweet because she's still very humble.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. And she loves the country. And and I think boxing for a country as well, I think that's also something she loves doing as well. I know she's going to these Olympics as well. She wants to be the first person to be world champion and Olympic champion at the same time. Yeah, I wish her all the best with that.
What I will say is I get a feeling, and again, it's not a criticism, because of the things that you've just mentioned, she's trying to go to the Olympics still, amateur boxing and professional boxing, two different sports. Yeah. I feel like she's got her foot in each camp at the minute, and that for me was probably the thing that she was navigating in the first few rounds. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I think it's difficult. Obviously, it's the same sport, but it is a lot different, and the training's a lot different. So is she going to be spreading herself too thin, trying to adjust back to 3-3-minute rounds and then still keep it up as a pro? Because she still trains with the Brazil team, and then she's flying over to England to win a world title. It's mental. But yeah, I guess we'll find out if that'll affect either side of her career.
It feels to me like part of your brain is trying to catch up. Again, I don't know because I'm not in a body. When she is relaxed, she's very fluid. She's dangerous. She has got such raw talent. And I think once she's got the Olympics out of the way, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but once she's got that out of the way, I think she can start really focusing on her professional technique, sitting down on her shots. But I think she's got the ingredients to be a huge, exciting star in the sport.
That's it. And I think Eddie mentioned it after the fight as well. She's got the ability to move about the weights. Like, she's not big for that lightweight. And she's not big for lightweight as an amateur. So as a professional, she's probably holding that weight a bit as well because for the Olympics, if she's boxing as a lightweight for that. But I think her power will be even more effective if she moved down in the weights. Because in the ring, that Lescano looked a lot bigger.
Yes, she did.
She looked a different weight class.
She did, to be fair, I was right.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if Ferreira moved down into feather super band. That would be interesting to see if she carried that power down with her as well. If she did it properly, I think she'd be even more destructive.
Yeah, I think the only thing I will say is that she hasn't got the hand speed that Lescano had. She's got the power. Yeah. Listen, I think a lot of people will be like, no, thank you. But there has been talk of... Eddie Heard had all sly dig, shall we say, yesterday. He was saying that obviously they offered the fight to Caroline Dubois. She turned it down. Now, Caroline Dubois told me she turned it down, firstly because she was actually offered more money to fight Rhiannon Dixon. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I think maybe if it's more of a domestic sort of build-up, then there might have been more money involved. But I also think she'll know Ferreira from the amateur circuit and know that she's more of a threat than Rhiannon Dixon would be to her, I think, at this stage. If fair play, if she wants to build a career a little bit more before taking that, like we mentioned earlier, before taking a risk like that. But I think Caroline does need to start taking those fights a little bit now. She's talented enough. She's got the skills, and she's got experience now to start up in the levels. So, yeah.
It's funny because I'd like to see now we've seen Ferreira fight on Saturday against Lescano, and obviously she won that fight because of a clash of accidental heads. I think that was in, like you say, in the 5th round. Yeah, it was stopped. But yeah, she won the fight. Obviously, Caroline Dubois fought Lescano. So I think also there was that little bit of needle as well as who.
Yeah, who did it better?
Yeah. So to see those two fight would be brilliant. I think
I think it'll happen. It's just a case of when.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think I'd like personally to see a little bit of a build up.
And a build up, and hopefully the more it builds up, the bigger the purse gets for them, and that's good for them as well.